Welcome to the E-commerce Profits Podcast, where we feature top founders and experts in the e-commerce industry and take an in-depth look at the struggles and successes in growing e-commerce brands profitably.
All right. What's good, people? Josh Chin here. I'm the host of the E-commerce Profit Podcast, where we feature top experts and entrepreneurs in the e-commerce industry, and we go behind the scenes of the struggles and successes in growing a brand. Now, this episode is brought to you by Chronos.agency. If you run a direct-to-consumer e-commerce brand that is ready to scale and to double your customer lifetime value through lifecycle marketing, Chronos is your company. We've helped hundreds of brands scale profits with email, SMS, and mobile push, and many more, while getting an average of 3,500% ROI from our efforts. We've worked with brands like Truly Beauty, The Udi, Dr. Living Good, and many more. The next step is to email us at sales@chronos.agency, or you can go to chronos.agency to learn more. Now, today's guest is Csaba Zajdó. Did I get that right?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Now, Csaba is a serial entrepreneur. He is the founder of OptiMonk, which is a tool that we at Chronos love very much, and we use OptiMonk for quite a number of our clients. He's also the founder of Shoprenter and Innonic, the first startup studio out in his hometown in Hungary, where he's based at. And he spent over, 15, 16 years now? Or more than that? 20 years?
16, indeed.
16 years.
I'm old, 16, yes.
In e-commerce. Yeah, before we hit record, I asked Csaba if there's anything that we shouldn't dive into in the conversation. He's like, don't talk about my age. But frankly speaking, Csaba is an entrepreneur with a long history of experiences in the e-commerce sector, and he's been growing businesses from scratch for a very long time. And OptiMonk, in particular, is an award-winning on-site retargeting platform, which helps e-commerce businesses, small, medium-sized, leverage the power of on-site retargeting, capture leads, and create better conversions. As of right now, you have more than 400 five-star ratings on Shopify, or is that outdated right now?
Well, we already guessed more than 530 some. I guess that's the actual number. It's growing, fortunately.
And tens of thousands of brands
and it's
are using OptiMonk.
Oh yes, actually, more than 30,000 brands use OptiMonk around the world.
More than 30,000.
Quite a lot.
That's quite a bit. And we'll dive into OptiMonk and what it does today. So, Csaba, all yours. Give us the quick rundown. What is OptiMonk, and why should people pay attention?
Yes. So OptiMonk is an on-site personalization platform which allows you to send personalized messages, basically to communicate the right message in the right moment to the right people. We often call it as the Klaviyo of on-site personalization. Klaviyo allows you to personalize, the after experience, after someone left your site, after an hour, after a day, after a week. Yes, those are really great moments to personalize, to provide a great experience to users. But why don't you also do it while they are still on your site, when their experience, their interest is the highest? And well, OptiMonk just allows you to do that. Many of our clients use OptiMonk for lead gen. We provide all sorts of super advanced pop-ups and side messages and sticky bars to collect leads and grow your list and collect zero-party data. But we also have numerous use cases for other sort of personalization, which allows you to increase the average order value, which allows you to get more information, to collect feedback, or to just for example, recommend products for interested users. We call our methodology basically for this personalization customer value optimization. And this customer value optimization is basically just a collection of a lot of tactics which helps you to create the right value for each user, personalized for their own awareness level, for their own stage of their own user journey. and thus, of course, increase conversions, increase leads, increase average order value, and increase lifetime value, which you are the expert in.
Yeah, most definitely. And now, what's interesting about OptiMonk, in my opinion, is that you allow, like you mentioned, maximum personalization to happen. Now, why is that important? And versus just having a pop up and that just being done. What's so important about personalization?
Yeah. So what's interesting is that most marketers understand why personalization is important in like emails or SMS, and not just broadcasting the same message to everyone all the time, right? Having delivered a relevant message to you in email or SMS makes it more likely to click through, to buy whatever you are recommending to the user. Still, when it comes to on-site experiences, we usually stick with the same generic experience for each and every user. While like providing a simple welcome pop-up can give you like a 5% conversion rate. Out of 100 people, maybe 5 will subscribe, and that's fine. And I guess that's one of the reasons is that it's good enough. It's good
Yeah,
enough for most marketers. All right, 5% not that bad
sounds good.
compared to
Yeah,
my ad CTR rates. It's good enough.
yeah,
But with a minimal effort, you could make it 20%, 30%. We have seen a 70% conversion rate with on-site messages, pop-up side messages. So instead of spending a huge amount of time and money optimizing ads, optimizing emails, and a lot of other stuff, which will be seen by a couple of hundreds of people, here's
yep,
your chance to invest some minimal effort into optimizing the on-site experience, to optimize these pop-ups, which will be seen by often tens of thousands of people in the next month or so. And you will have a much better ROI for these optimization efforts than maybe super optimizing, micro optimizing your Facebook ads, for example.
and that's really important. In the past couple of quarters alone, we've seen acquisition costs for our clients practically double, and that's been a massive pain, not just to us as an agency, because we see things on the back end on lifecycle marketing, where every lead becomes so much more expensive. The pressure is on. The pressure is on to grow customer lifetime value and to grow and optimize for a better experience on the back end. And that starts with personalization. And a lot of the conversations that we have had with our clients and internally with our team is, how do we create a personalized experience at scale for every single customer and every single visitor that comes by our site? So what are some ideas that you've seen that work the best or are typically uncommon, but that people miss out on? Anything that's interesting?
Yeah. So let's just start with the basics, like lead capture, right? So instead of presenting a welcome pop-up for each and every visitor when they just arrive to your site, just using an exit intent trigger and using a teaser, which will just a less aggressive way of pre-teasing, basically just pre-showing your message to users, will usually improve we usually double the conversion rate of your messages. So that's just the like step number one, and it's super easy to do. Then personalizing these messages, these lead capture forms, based on, like, for example, interest, based on source,
Yep.
based on country. I mean, if you are using Facebook ads, you have a lot of data you can work with. In Facebook, you can target, like, if you are selling nutrition, you can have a different ad set for people who want better sleep, and a different ad set for people who want to lose weight, for example, right? So that's
Right.
two different problem sets. Why would
Yep.
you want to just show the same message, when they click through, to each of these people. One, from the UTM parameters, you can perfectly know that, all right, this visitor is interested in losing weight, and this other is interested in better sleep. So you can absolutely personalize your message based on that knowledge that you already know. And even in those examples, when you don't know for example, their problem, like they are coming organic, for example, or the direct traffic, right? Then you can start maybe not with a lead gen form that, hey, give me your email address, but hey, what problem are you trying to solve? Just click on any of these problems, weight loss or better sleep, and I will, by the way, just in exchange, I will give you a 10% discount. So instead of using this form as right away as an offer, basically you just incentivize the click of the problem to your users with this 10% offer. We call this, by the way, we call this use case a conversational pop-up. So on the first screen, you just ask a question and give them some options. They click through. Usually the click-through of this first question is above 20-25%. So it's usually very high if you have the right wording. On the second page, all right, so here is your 10%. Thank you so much. Give me your email address. And on the third page, you can, all right, so based on your interest, I can already recommend you like these top 3 products in weight loss, for example, if they clicked on weight loss. So now you don't have to wait for the email sequence to send personalized emails for the users regarding weight loss, but you can already start this kind of personalization on just in the same message, in the same pop-up on the third page. And that's, again, just the beginning. If you have like a cart abandonment email, a cart abandonment pop-up, or you have any kind of recommendation and side messages throughout the journey, you can already use that information which came from the first pop-up or even from the UTM parameters. You can personalize, again, this experience based on this knowledge you already know about the user.
That is fantastic. And I just want to latch onto that. The 3-step process that you just described, having the first step being a micro engagement, micro commitment type of a question where, hey, what are you trying to solve? Are you trying to get better sleep, or are you trying to lose weight? That simple question, and the fact that it's so easy for someone to engage with that pop-up. So you mentioned that up to 25% of people who sees the pop-up click on an option. That creates consistency with the next step. So it's way more likely that someone's going to enter an email once they have engaged with the pop-up versus not having engaged with the pop-up and immediately asking for an email upfront. So I have a couple of buddies who have done this on their site, and they've seen as high as an 18% opt-in rate on the email ask and a 9% opt-in on the text message opt-in that comes after the email opt-in. So incredibly high. So just for context, Csaba, like you mentioned, if you just set up a pop-up without much of a personalization happening, it's relatively looking decent, you're going to see maybe a 4 or 5% conversion rate, fairly decent. But at 18%, you're basically converting 18 out of 100 visitors that you've paid for on Facebook or any other traffic source. That gives you the opportunity to immediately upsell, convert, and nurture on the back end without ever having to pay Facebook again.
Absolutely. And you said 18% for email and 9% for SMS.
Yeah.
We have a use case. We have a use case called Trojan Horse, which allows you to get 18% on email and 15% on SMS. And it's not either or, but both.
Okay.
Both. Basically, I mean, if I can share you the secret of it, basically,
Tell
you
me.
use email as the Trojan horse, which opens the door. People are so much more likely to give your email address. They know that, all right, I mean, maybe I will get these newsletters, but it's all right for me. Yeah. Maybe I will just unsubscribe if I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. And on the second page, you don't request their phone number right away. No, first you just give them an offer. Hey, double your discount. Double your discount. Yes, I want to double my discount and give me give my phone number. No, email is just fine and 10% is just fine. For example, if you were offering a 10% discount
Yeah.
for the main value proposition for the email, you just, all right, I will double it to 20% if you also give me your phone number. And 80%
Yeah.
of the users who gave you their email address will also give you their phone numbers. But I mean, even if you don't want to like double the discount because you feel, all right, but that's too much, even
Yeah.
just if you say that, all right, hey, would you like to get this discount code for your phone too?
Yep.
Just for this convenience reason, like half of all email subscribers will also give you their phone numbers. So you will still, even if you don't give any extra value, just you just offer the convenience of
Yep.
getting this discount code. Uh, Half of this 18% will also give you their phone number, so you will get the best of both worlds without any extra value.
That's
And it's
incredible.
really powerful. And if you combine it with the conversational pop-up, of which I said, of first asking a couple of questions, then you have zero party data, you have email, you have phone, and you can already give a lot of interesting product recommendations on the sports and thank you page of this message.
Yep.
It's a super strong combination. And again, we haven't even talked about real personalization, like based on the traffic source or based on country or based on any other interesting opportunities.
That is fantastic. I love that. Right. Now, let's talk about the flip side. What are some common mistakes that you see? And that I'm sure you're probably a consumer as well. You buy stuff online, right? And you probably see things that kind of irks you. Go like, what a terrible pop-up, or what a terrible on-site retargeting pop-up. What are some of the worst that you've seen?
The worst is definitely that just for some reason people have such a low expectation regarding pop-ups, I guess, that all right, it's working, it appears, it has the input field and it's working, I tested it and that's all right, and it's converting like 3.5%. All right, it's better than nothing. And that's all. And that's what I see. And they don't do any A/B test regarding the messaging. They just, hey, get 10% off your first order. All right. And I mean, that's
Right.
for me, it's unbelievable how much potential and how much money is left on the table for most of these marketers. And then I see that they are super picky about their brand regarding any other aspect. Their ads, they have all this brand guiding and everything else. But when it comes to these on-site messages, pop-ups, side messages, all right, just working. That's all. I mean, why it's the lowest hanging fruit on the table, which you can just pick right away. And give me any other initiative or project where you can invest maybe half an hour of your time and you can get definitely at least a double increase in conversions. I think there's no other such. Yeah, very few,
if any at all. This is really interesting. Now, if you could go back in time, knowing what you know now, right, and given the context that we have today with first party and zero party data being so important, personalization becoming even more important than ever, what would you have done with OptiMonk? What kind of features or parts of the business would you have implemented a little bit earlier?
Well, I guess I would definitely have done sooner all the deeper Klaviyo integrations,
Okay.
which we have just released a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, which really allows you to target any Klaviyo segment with any OptiMonk pop-ups.
It's huge.
So now we are like natively integrated with Klaviyo.
Yeah.
I think that we should have definitely done it earlier, since we have, I don't know, a couple of thousands of Klaviyo users, and many of them requested it earlier. Often we don't listen enough to customer voices, I guess, and we have to definitely improve in that. Of not only just doing whatever next fancy feature or use case we envision, because we have a research team in house, and we actively experiment with all kind of use cases. How could we better improve the conversion rates and better improve the lead gen forms and all this stuff. And whenever we create a new use case, we always see that, all right, it can create a 30% conversion rate. Let's make it usable and achievable for all the users. But often what I see is that most of our customers are not necessarily always interested in the latest, most shiny, and even most efficient use cases. But they have their own requirements. They would just they would like to show they would love to show a special offer for their VIP segment in Klaviyo, for example. And hey, for VIPs, we have this super special offer just for you. And they couldn't do it for since a couple of weeks ago. But right now, you can do it.
Very cool. Now, we have been a user of OptiMonk at the agency for a while now, and we've seen what it used to be and what it is today, and lots of changes along the way, lots of new features and new integrations and new development put in place. What are you personally most excited about in the next 12 months of the company? What can we expect?
Basically, what we are working on right now is to make the personalization of your website, not just for on-site messages like pop-up side message navigation, but the embedded, the native content of the website, personalizable as much as possible. We see that there's a huge demand to create personalized experiences on the landing pages, on the home pages, and many other aspects. And why we already offer this functionality, so you can basically personalize any part of your web page. Still, I consider the current experience for this feature set suboptimal, and we would love to make it as convenient and easy to do as with the on-site messages. So people could just create dozens or even hundreds of different messages for their websites, personalized messages, and run these campaigns in parallel without the chance of annoying their visitors or conflicting these campaigns. And just let me create it. This all looks nice, and it will happen. And we are also working on a lot of AI related stuff. We have a huge amount of data sitting on right now, and we are also already using it to control some aspect of our messages. Like, for example, we have this user experience protector feature, which even if you create 100 different pop-ups, which some of them might conflict, it will stop them from appearing if it feels that it would just annoy the user. So basically, it's like a limitation of the impressions of your messages, but it gives you the peace of mind that, all right, I created these pop-ups. I'm not sure if the targeting is all set up correctly, but never mind. I turned up this user experience protector, and I don't have to worry about just overwhelming them with a lot of different messages.
Very, very cool. Very interesting. It sounds like lots of things are happening that behind the scenes that we don't realize. I love the idea of having personalization native to the product pages and to the landing pages, and that's really a big step. That's really interesting to me, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, on a personal note, for you as an entrepreneur, and you have been building businesses for a long time now, coming to almost 2 decades, what are some of your what are some of the biggest lessons and insights that you carry with you as you build a company from day to day?
Well, yeah. So beside OptiMonk, I'm also the founder of Innonic. Innonic, we we call it a startup studio, or you might call it a startup factory.
Yeah.
Basically, the concept is to validate a lot of startup ideas,
Yeah.
and then if any of them is actually working, then you can then we dedicate a team for this idea and raise some VC funding, and then let's just let them go and build this startup. I mean, why we are not really actively working on it right now, because I had to admit that I cannot sit too many horses with one, ass.
Yeah, of course.
It still we are invested in maybe more than a dozen startups,
Mm-hmm.
and what I always see is that most startups, most products launch off with a lot of hypotheses, with a lot of assumptions that, all right, this is something that people will want,
Yeah.
and they scale too early. Often they start raising money, they start spending big on ads, they start doing a lot of investment
Yeah.
basically on parts of the business, which is really super super early. And just in the beginning, just keeping your operations as low as possible,
As lean as possible. Yeah.
and yeah, as lean as possible,
Mm-hmm.
and going for the product market fit and looking for this product market fit. I think that's so easy to ignore, especially if you cannot find it right away, because we have this pressure from everyone that, all right,
Yeah.
I've already invested, like, I don't know, 3 months or a half or a year of my life into this project and it's still not working. Then we should go. We should be growing.
Yeah.
But again, growing is easy if you have product market fit. It's a pain in the ass. It's a struggle if you don't have it.
Yeah.
So investing more time into validating your ideas and your hypotheses regarding the product market fit, the channel market fit, all these, the messaging itself. I think that's so much important, and definitely I invest so much more time and money into some of my previous startups if I
Yeah.
could start again.
Java, you just gave me an epiphany. I'm bridging this and linking this up with what I've heard very recently from a consultant friend of mine. And in the consulting world, it's all about removing friction and then move forward. Remove friction and then progress. Remove friction and then progress. And in this context, it's about finding the right product market fit so that growing becomes frictionless. And growing shouldn't be painful, because the only pain that should come with growth is scaling operations and then the growing pains that come with it. But happy pains. Growing shouldn't be tough in terms of struggling to find new customers when you have really great product market fit. That's kind of like my key takeaway from what you've just shared.
In the startup world, there's a saying that if you have growth, then all the rest of your problems is not that important. If you don't have growth, well, then all the rest of your problems is not that important. So basically, growth solves
Right.
all the problems.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, of course, it will give you some new problems like operational stuff.
Yeah.
Hiring a lot of people, but that's super exciting. And again, growth will be a struggle if you try to sell something that people don't want. Basically, that's product market fit is about. If you can sell it, if you have something that's actually working and solves that problem which they were looking for, then all the rest will be so much more enjoyable and easy to do.
Now, a little known fact about you, Csaba, that not many people know. You are one of you were one of the top StarCraft players in Hungary back in the 2000s, early 2000s. Is that right? To mid 2000s?
Yeah. That's it.
And you have an ongoing, I suppose, wager internally with your company's employees that if anyone's able to beat you in StarCraft, they get a free MacBook, like with maxed out specs. Is that true?
Yeah, we call it a policy, not a wager, but
Okay.
yeah, I guess it's something like
all right,
that.
policy. Yeah. Sounds like a wager to me. What? All right.
Yes.
What are some of the things?
Some of the new players tried it.
What are some of the things that that you took away from that experience into the business world in growing your companies?
Yeah, so StartUp is a strategy game, and it really requires you to balance the macro level, the strategical part, and the micro, like the operational part. And I often fear that the business, if you want to do business right, it's often the same. I mean, you cannot ignore neither of these words. If you get too much micro focus, if you just spend your time always doing the micro and operational stuff, then just fighting with the fires in house, then the strategical level you will get behind, and the market will change, and you will not notice new competitors coming up and all the new possible opportunities. But again, if you stay too much on the strategical level and just you don't notice the micro problems, you don't extinguish the fires burning in house, then of course you will get killed before you could reach your big strategical goals. And of course, there will be always more fires, basically, which you can fight all at once. So you just having the ability to pick the right battles, see where is the juice of the battle is going, and where you should focus your efforts. I think that's very similar both in business and StarCraft. And I'm not sure if you knew, but the founder of Shopify, Toby, used to be a StarCraft player, and in the beginning he actually claimed to hire new colleagues based on their StarCraft ability, because he believed that StarCraft players are smart, and if you're a good StarCraft player, then you must be good in mathematics or something like that. While I haven't done it based on StarCraft skills only, I do have a couple of colleagues in the team who can play StarCraft quite well.
Yeah.
And I know that they are smart indeed. So
I did not know that. I didn't know that Tobias was a StarCraft player. Very very similarly. I think that there are industries and games and practices outside of business and outside of our own industry that we can draw a lot of inspiration and ideas from. And some of the best insights and revelations come from cross-industry insights, because that's where the least number of people go to look. And typically that's where you find ideas and insights that your competitors are not looking. And so very cool, very impressive. What is the number one advice that you give yourself 16 years back before you first started coming into this crazy world of business and e-commerce?
Well, it's a difficult question, because I mean, if assuming that I knew everything back then, which I knew today, I could have skipped most of my mistakes, and like 9 out of 10 decisions turn out to be suboptimal in retrospective. So with having all these insights, is of course it would be so much easier if I could see the future, which I couldn't do that. But I mean, back then, again, I was young and I had zero experience, and I just started doing, and I think that's all part of the journey, and the process itself of just doing all this stuff and get building on your experiences. The important thing is, I think, is that you shouldn't get stuck in anything too long, which is not working. But you have to be open-minded. You have to just cut your losses if you feel after a while that it's not working. I think that too many people just, I don't know, take it like as a pride or just in the ego stuff that, I must make it work. And why, so being able to differentiate between persistency and just, all right, I just have to do it something more, I just need to keep doing it for a couple of extra years or months, and it will be great. And or between all right, I'm sitting on a dead horse basically, and it will be not working however hard I push it. I think that's really hard, really, especially with this hustle culture we have.
Yeah.
That, all you have to do is just push it more, just work more, and this is really hard. But finding the right battles to fight basically, and not fighting losing battles. I think that's super important.
How do you do it? How do you know when to give up?
It's not easy. It's not easy. Of course, experience helps.
So it's more instinct now?
And I have I would say I have a group of people surrounding me who are honest, and who don't let the get the ego get into my head and get too confident about. And they will tell me that, Csaba, this thing you are doing is just stupid. Just stop it. And then I can have honest conversation with all these people, and they will, just keep this mirror in front of me, and so I can see how others look. That really helps. But even when we have conflicting opinions, often it's not easy to decide if I'm just self-delusional or if I'm really right. And I have a lot of debate in my head regarding that.
I want to unpack that, because you just mentioned something that's really, really, really cool. You have a group of people that you go to as a sounding board, who are truth tellers, who are able to act as a mirror and tell you exactly what you probably don't want to hear, but need to hear. So question, who are these people? Are they your board of directors, or are they just entrepreneurs that are at a similar stage of business?
Yeah. So OptiMonk is bootstrapped, and Innonic is also bootstrapped. So we don't have any investors. We have an investor in a lot of our startups, and I'm a member of those boards. But they usually give advice to the CEOs of those startups. So I don't personally have a board.
Okay.
Usually it's my wife, definitely. She is the loudest critic of me. And
That's fantastic.
I also have a couple of entrepreneurs who are similar age, similar background. We are usually very honest with each other. And I'm fortunate to say that I have a really great team with really smart people who I try to keep this culture where people are not only allowed to speak their mind, but also to encouraged to be honest with me. So we have a lot of really loud debates often in all kinds of different aspects of the business. Sometimes it even gets emotional. But I think that's good. I mean, if people are allowed to get emotional, and even they sometimes like tell me, hey, screw you. I think that's a good point. And they care, definitely. They care, and they are not afraid of being punished or anything like that, because they confronted me. I think having that open culture, that's really the most important stuff of hearing all the voices around you, and keeping the open-mindedness, or else you will have a lot of aides which will just always tell you what you want to hear, and then you will be naked.
Yes, people, right?
the tail. The yes people. Yes. You will be the naked king, and no one will tell you that you are naked, and that's a problem.
It is. I'm really grateful that I have a group of people that I lean on as well. My co-founder, partners, my team. In our culture, in our company culture, we make it a point to be in our version of radical transparency, to speak with radical transparency. And that means three things to us. It's, you always have the right to ask why, no matter who made the decision, how it's made. You have the right to ask why. If you're curious, if you don't know. The second thing is, you cannot withhold critical opinion about anything. So if you feel strongly about a decision that's being made, you don't just have the right, but the obligation to say it, for the betterment of the team and for the betterment of everyone. So we also go into debates on things that are seemingly the most mundane, but it really creates a culture of where it's okay to speak up and it's okay to argue. And still work in progress, frankly, with a company of our stage and our size. It's difficult, but I really appreciate that.
It's really great. Yeah, it's really great rules. I love them. I guess I will implement this later part of no withholding of
Yeah.
critical information or critical opinion. I think that's that's important. Often
Yeah.
people are shy, I would say,
Yeah.
of telling or voicing their opinion, but
And
that's super important. And I often say that the company is not a democracy.
yeah,
I mean, someone have to make the
it's not.
choices, and it
Yeah.
cannot be just mutual agreement. But still, uh, uh, making the decision on your own or make the decision after hearing
Yeah.
everyone's opinion, that's a very two different thing. And
Yeah.
if you even voice the why, why this decision was made after everyone was listened to, well,
Exactly.
then that's when the buy-in actually happens. That's when people will say, all right, I could
Yep.
voice my concerns, and but I understand your
Yeah.
reasons, so this is the decision, so let's go there. Even if it was me, I would have gone out other way, but still, let's go there. And this is how you can buy
Exactly.
buy-ins with
Dude,
smart
that's
people,
so huge. I think
basically.
very few people realize that, but it's those moments where very smart people can say, you know what? I don't agree with your decision, but you have my support and I'll fight this battle with you throughout the way. That's when you win as a team. And that's something I'm really conscious about and trying to create at our company. Um, One of the things that I've learned is that in a company like ours, we're a remote team, so we don't get to see one another on a regular basis. There's no informal conversations that happen without putting in conscious effort. So we try to create environments and opportunities for that to happen. But also, every interaction that we have through Zoom and through a call becomes super important. And what I plan to do, this is something that we haven't done yet, so very interesting to have this conversation with you, is to set some ground rules of engagement. It's part of our culture. It's written down. It's part of our core values that we speak of radical transparency. We always have the right to ask why, never withhold a critical opinion, and also, the third thing is to never say anything about the person unless you're able to say it to them directly. So it's always a direct conversation. But we never really had a set of engagement rules, like ground rules for this is how we agree to interact with one another. I agree that I will always speak the truth. I agree that I will always be honest and transparent, no matter how much it hurts. These are the things that we never really penned it down, and I think that it could be a massive help to articulate that explicitly.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of policies. I mean, in my experience, I mean, in the past, we used to have a lot of rules. We used to have a policy and a rule for everything. But what we noticed that people don't even know about them. And whenever you write the rule down or the
Yeah.
policy, after a week or a month, it will get outdated, and no one will actually have the power or the energy to maintain all this stuff. So instead of trying to micromanage all type of your business, I just having the right foundation, having the right people, having the right culture,
Yeah.
basically, which is like the immune
The
system
immune
of your
system. Yeah.
company, and then having the right goals. I think it should be enough. And then basically, maybe you shouldn't do it as straightforward as Netflix does. That act in Netflix best interest. I guess that's their own. That it used to be their only policy.
Yeah.
Maybe they have some more policy right now, and we have some more, but not too much. So we really try to maintain these policies as low as possible. So we have few, but we believe them they are important, but rather really focus on the values and the company culture. And if you have the right culture, and the right people who really agree on this culture and who live and breathe these values, which you also believe in, then that's when you will have an autonomous team with empowerment who can really fight and work together for a common goal.
Dude, I have so much to learn from you, and thank you for being transparent and sharing your thoughts and opinions and your journey with us. For people interested in connecting with you, learning more about what you do, and learning more about OptiMonk, where can they go to?
Well, OptiMonk.com, I guess that's definitely the best way. And if you want to learn more about this whole methodology of personalizing on-site experiences and learn about this customer value optimization, the methodology itself, I recommend checking out optimmonk.com/CVO, like customer value optimization, CVO. That's it. That's the URL. And there you can download our guide. Actually, it was written by me. It's a easy, but I think very useful summary of all the principles and best practices. I think that's a good start. Or reach out to me through LinkedIn if you are interested.
Csaba, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And for people listening, that's Csaba Zajdó, right?
Yes, you have a very nice pronunciation.
All right.
Not too many people can pronounce my Hungarian name.
I try. You know what? That's the sweetest sound in the world is your name. I mean, to a person, right? That's someone say that. Csaba, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and looking forward to learning from you again very soon.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the E-commerce Profits Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get notified of future episodes.